A good early evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Strain coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner, but I have adjusted my time a couple hours earlier than normal, but I didn't find out about that until a little while ago. Earlier today, Old Smoky, who usually goes live on Saturday nights, was not able to go on live tonight, and so he is going to try to go on live tonight. Hopefully, he will explain what was going on, but I decided that I was going to go ahead and accommodate him. But this thing is a beast. This one might even be more than that Russian vegetarian 24-hour ration that I did probably almost 3 years ago. There are 4 entrees in that one, so along with pulling in some other components, I made 4 reviews out of that one. I did some translating on this earlier. There is 3 entrees in here among the other components, and the bottom was taped up, so I went ahead and pulled off the tape thinking that maybe it was just taped up to keep the flap down for easier packing. Like the other 24-hour Russian rations, you have this grab hole at the top. There's 3 of them. Spicy tuna rolls is here. And then the zip seal at the bottom, apparently that had been damaged in transit. So the sender, who is Nicholas Sklo of the Killing Zombies channel, he taped it up, but everything is there. So here is the cardboard box that everything comes in. Just a plain white box. Nothing on the sides or the ends. Nearly covers the entire tray. There's just this mark of something that got on it during the packaging process, so I just got rid of that. So here is a soup mix. James Ortiz is here. These winter rations or their mountain rations would always include these hand warmers. That's a very nice touch. So those will go into my stash. You get 3 fuel tabs plus a very, very thin foldable stove that you would put the fuel tabs on in order to heat up one of the main entree cans or to heat some water. Yeah, unlike other Arctic rations, these have liquid type components. Two packets of tomato sauce or ketchup or something to that effect. Got just some loose napkins. A packet of pepper, which is something that U.S. rations need to do all the time. Instant potatoes. These are very good, by the way. I really enjoy these instant potatoes. This is a breakfast porridge, breakfast kasha with raspberries or raspberry flavor. And peanuts, like the everyday your best mood. A big old packet of sugar, 20 grams of sugar in that packet. Got some storm-proof matches and strikers. Very nice to have. These drink mixes are very notorious for being clumpy with a lot of moisture in them. So you try to mix them, they're going to take a long time to dissolve. Another 20 grams of sugar. This is a wet wipe. There is the Russian apple butter. This is a powdered milk drink. It has a few other ingredients in it besides the milk powder. There's another wet wipe, and it looks like something leaked on it. Definitely not the apple butter that leaked. Some coffee. That's going to go into the mug. Got some Russian tea. I really like this tea. A big old packet of sweetened condensed milk. And this time, instead of the really thin cans, some of these items are in a little bit thicker. This is the foil can, but even it is somewhat thicker. This is like a tuna in a tomato, or tuna with tomato. The fruit bars. I actually enjoy these fruit bars. So I got one of those. Got there's supposed to be 3 spoons. There's 2 of them, but they're clear this time. There's the other wet wipe. This is a big old packet of salt that's the same size as the creamer or sugar packets in the British rations. This is the vegetable caviar vegetable spread, and the edges of this took a bit of a hit during transit, but this is not the source of the leak, not that I could tell. So that one should be in good shape still. The chocolate spread, the little bit there got knocked off, but I think I saw that flying out earlier as I pulled something else out. But this spread is very, very good. I'm putting some things over here. 3 single pieces of gum. Let's see. Burger Butt and Burger Butt, Hooga Homestead have come in. Thanks for dropping in. Sorry about the camera shaking, but got 3 water purification tablets. Always a good thing to have in your supplies. I'll put those on top of the chocolate spread. Got 3 pieces of gum, and this is a fruit flavored gum. From what I think. I would guess that would be a fruit flavor. Now 2 different kinds of crackers. Got these with the blue writing. And then, I dropped one of them. And then these with an attached label. Okay, sorry, my noggin bumped that. There we go. These busted ones will be perfect for that soup. And now we're to the... This is a single vitamin tablet. So Free America has dropped in. Thanks for dropping in. I don't know a whole lot of Russian, but I did translate the outer bag earlier. But from seeing others in the past, I do recognize a few things like this. Kasha, what looks like a W equals to, it's the sh sound. So there's like one So kasha translates to porridge. So this one, because it has a cow's head, it is clearly beef. So this would be like a roast beef. This is just, these are all meat and some kind of grain. But I like that these are in these sturdier cans so that they do not take the hits like this did. So these are the 3 entrees. So I'm going to put this box back here. See, these cans look in very good shape. So I think I'm going to have this one tonight. 250 grams. Let's see if I can, because it's round, it might be a little hard. But if the contents matches what's in the picture, or even somewhat close, I mean, it would not look nearly as good as what's on the picture. You know what food stylists like to do. But I am definitely thinking of having this tonight. There was supposed to be a liver pate in here, but that is apparently not present, unless this is it. Oh no, this is. Oh, it is a. Oh, it does say pate de l'air, so that is in French. Okay, it does say pastete. So I was wrong about this one. This one is a liver pate. I should have noticed that. Yeah, I would say that one. Yeah, it looks like a beef stew. To me, this looks like a beef stew. So I'm going to have this one. I'm going to start tossing back all those things I'm not going to do tonight. I'm going to have the coffee. I really enjoyed this Russian tea. So one of the spoons is missing. There's supposed to be 3. But I won't be using those anyway since I'll be using my my spork. I'm not going to mess with the milk powder tonight. "20 grams of sugar is way too much." Yeah, something definitely leaked on this one. But I have absolutely no idea what happened to that packet. It might have been, who knows, it might have been one of these. These feel like and sound like they're starting to delaminate. But I put the squeeze on that one and nothing started to come out. Same with this one, it's starting to delaminate, but there's nothing coming out, so the soup looks like it would be pretty interesting. There's something definitely. I'm going to have to clean up these drink packets, so I may substitute a drink powder for one of my other ones. Obviously not going to be bothering with that, but I do add these to my supplies, so they will go into my stash. So I will keep one of these packets of crackers out. have a trash bag off of here to my left. Looks like that coffee. It doesn't look quite as brown as it should. Or maybe it's just the way it is. But I'm going to go ahead and put this. Now, this label may end up coming off. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in the pot and start heating that up. And in the meantime, I will dig out another one of my drink mixes. I might get one of the Polish ones that I also got in this box that I got with this ration. So I may grab one of those. I cleaned off the apple butter packet too while I was in there. My Crasher in the house. I've opted for a Polish drink because the Russian ones were very, very very hard. It would take a crap ton of time to try to figure those out. Plus, the packets are kind of sticky, so the Russian drink will get replaced by a Polish forest fruits drink. So it'll probably take some time for the pellets to dissolve. Again, I'll show you this Russian coffee. It it looks like what happens if something. I just moved it around. So it smells like coffee. It doesn't smell weird. Again, got the sweetened condensed milk. A huge packet of it. And this had a Best Buy day of 2020. I don't see a Best Buy day on this thing. But something actually got a little on here too. But right up here, just at the corner. So that would not affect this at all. But this is got squeezed up right up to here, so that almost looks like caramel, and it's gotten thick. So maybe this stuff has gone to crap. Yeah, that's gone to crap. No, that does not taste right at all. So this one is going in the trash. It tastes like coffee, so I'm going to go with it. I found another sweetened condensed milk that I've been keeping in my fridge, so I'm going to go with it. That one is much better. So I will go ahead and bring back the hot water for the coffee, and I'll go ahead and bring back the main as well. Yep, the label did come off, so I just tossed it in my kitchen trash. Ah, crap. Well, that popped off. I have to take this back into the kitchen and pry it open. So give me a few minutes to do that, and I'll be back. Sorry about that. I did manage to get it open. So now you get a look at what it looks like. The can is still very hot, so I think I'm just going to leave it in the can. Very tiny pieces. That was a piece of carrot, very soft, as to expected. Yeah, to be expected. I think I'll save this fruit bar for another day. I'm going to go ahead and open up these peanuts. And for those coming in late, this is menu 3 of the 2019 Ration Winter 24-hour ration. Oh, these crackers are coming apart. I was always, I have never been able to get straight which color on these ones that have the colored text on the wrappers. What type of cracker is supposed to be. And this one has the blue writing on it. Then there's some with green and some with brown. Plus the ones that either have just very tiny block writing or a sticker label attached. But there's enough bigger pieces here. That I can put the apple butter on. And this is pretty, there's a fair amount of liquid in here. Go ahead and take a bite of it. It's a shredded or pulled beef. Peas are quite soft. But the flavor is pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and take a test nibble of the cracker. I think these might be the whole wheat crackers based on the flavor that I'm getting and maybe the color. See, this is slightly darker than this one. Going back through the chat to see if I missed anyone coming in while I was in the kitchen trying to open up that. Yep, guess haven't missed anybody. And for those that are probably expecting me to go on at my normal time, just that again. I decided to bump it up since Smokey said he would try to go live tonight. I'm going to dip this cracker in here, let it absorb some of the broth. Yeah, that definitely does work. At least these still have some crunch to them. Yep, that coffee is perfectly fine. Would have been nice to use the original sweetened condensed milk, but it had already gotten super thick and gone to caramel, but not in a nice way. But I had a backup plan. There's Pat Miller in the house. No, I haven't heard anything. There's, I just pretty much figured nothing more is going to happen to that. So I'm just pretty much going to leave it as is. Those do break apart very easily, though. I'm going to have another bite of this. This is it's more like an apple butter, so it's supposed to be dark. If you get the very fresh version of that, it's going to be the same thing. It's not like apple jelly. It's a totally different thing. But I really do enjoy that. I'm giving my Polish drink another stir. I went to it because the two Russian ones that were in there, very, very hard, and something had leaked on the packets. This is the Polish forest fruits tea. It's like that pelletized drink. So I decided to pull one of those out as a substitute. I have always enjoyed these peanuts that come in these rations. See how these are. Lightly roasted, lightly salted. Those are perfectly fine. Not quite up there with Nut Walker, but they're still pretty darn good peanuts. This, I'll just call it a beef stew, since that is pretty much what it is, except for it doesn't have some of the veggies in there that we would associate with a beef stew, like potatoes and. But still, this is pretty darn good. It's just a bummer that the pop tab on the can failed. So that's why I went back into the kitchen and I was able to just stick a butter knife in there and just kind of work it around the side just to pry it up. And that worked. And I just tossed the lid into the trash right there instead of bringing that back in here. Now, the carrots are really tiny pieces. But there's a good amount of meat in here, which I'm very happy about. Now, this is the kasha. Let's see. $250. So all three of these cans have the same amount in them. Let's see this. I am not sure if this would be barley or buckwheat or rice. It could be any one of those. But this one here, I'm definitely thinking of pairing this with the instant potatoes. And maybe just preparing the instant potatoes and then just dumping this on top of it. That's what I'm thinking about doing with this. Now, since there's only the one snack, the peanuts, I may prepare that soup with the kasha. Just seems like a good combination to me. I hope that sounds like it would be okay with you all if I did that. Now, these portions are actually not all that much more, at least for the entrees, than you would get in an American ration. But you definitely know you're getting a beef. Gonna have another drink of the coffee. I have always liked the Russian coffees too. I'm gonna eat another piece of this cracker with the apple butter on it. There's these. It looks like there's something a little sticky on there, but I can clean that up later. But these breakfast kashas, these would be good to take on a camping trip. Because there's not a whole lot to them when they're dry. Chicago and the house, thanks for dropping in. So that's why I like to save a lot of those. Just shows how easily these crackers break. So I wiped that one up. That one That one may find its way into my camping food bag. So that 3 is, I'm assuming, to be menu 3. But I just dig this white, black and white camo bag. Just got the logo of the company that produced this ration. And being that it's a Mylar bag, I could definitely repack in it. Yeah, so I am going to hold on to it. But what I may end up doing is, since the zip right here is pretty much toast, if I use this to repack food in, I will cut this whole top off, and then I will just heat seal it below here. But either way, I am definitely going to hold on to that bag. Yeah, these apple butters, they definitely got that right. They could definitely stand to improve the quality of the drink mixes, make them so they're not so moist. When you open a very fresh one, and it'll be just as moist as an 8-year-old one. Of course, you get that with the Norwegian Arctic field rations too. Those drink mixes have a tendency to be very moist and hard to dissolve. And the flavor is usually pretty good, but it's just trying to get it to dissolve that's a real bugger. Since this one turned out to be pretty darn good, I think the others are going to be equally just as good. Since I will get 2 more meals out of this box, 2 more streams, I will be pulling other drink mixes. I have 1 more of this fruit tea, but I got those other tea packets are in the silver shiny packet, like the one that the Russian vitamin pill is in. But I think those are meant to be hot. I got 2 British drinks that I will go ahead and use to substitute for the messed up Russian drink mix, although I may try to salvage that by preparing it ahead of time and just giving it time to dissolve. I might actually experiment with that as well, just to see if that would work. Of course, I have the luxury to be able to do that. Now, there's definitely some fat in here. That last bite I took of my spork definitely had some fat in there. That's another thing the Russians are known for, is having a lot of fat in their meat entrees. The original Russian IRP that is in that green box with the big star on it, that has pork fat with maybe a tiny bit of meat in it. That's almost entirely fat. And I've commented on those videos that, if you don't want to just eat that straight up, save it and use it to cook something in. You could fry in that stuff. So if you're one of those who you cook bacon and you save the fat instead of dumping it out, and you just let that harden up and you freeze it, or you render it along with other pork fats to make lard, and you could cook with that. You could pretty much do the same thing with this particular stuff that's in the original IRP. I call it the original. The one that was in just the green box that has a carry handle at the top. That's not in one of these types of bags. I bet you could easily do that and probably cook up a mess of fried eggs or scrambled eggs, or fry up some potatoes in that. So I suggested to those people that had those rations, you could easily get away with doing that. I do that when I get beef fat. That is something I have not heard of. But if that is something that is typical in other countries, if the ration packers figure out a way to make it shelf stable, I'm sure it could show up in one. After all, no one thought that there would be pizza in a ration, but now there is. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. I think with this phone being as heavy as it is, and this mount being as old as it is, it really doesn't take much to make this thing wobble. There we go. I'll make another adjustment, but I'll get the focus back. But this stomp pot does sound like it would be a good candidate for a ration entree. Oh, so it's Dutch. Well, it could be in Dutch rations. It would be interesting to find out if the ration packers have actually done that. It definitely does sound like it would be pretty darn delicious. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it would be a heck of a morale booster, especially if you've had to spend a serious amount of time outside doing exercises. And then you go back to wherever your camp is or whatever, and you heat up some of that. Yep, you cannot go wrong with chicken and rice. Last night we had our community dinner at the mosque, and one of the local restaurants, the one I like to go into a lot, Gersha, that serves Ethiopian food. They brought in pretty much all of it except for we had an additional batch of rice that we had done in the mosque kitchen. But they brought Goldman, which is collard greens, and then the beef alicia, which is sort of like a beef stew, but bigger chunks of beef, pieces of larger pieces of carrot and potato. And then I think the other one was like beef tibs, which is smaller pieces of beef with bits of bell pepper in it and maybe bits of potato. And then there was a salad, and we just had cookies. That we already had there that we just unwrapped and put onto a tray that was then passed around. But we've had a few of these, but because Ramadan takes place in March, we're not going to do one next month because we just want to focus on getting in everything, or at least as much as we can, so we can have our nightly iftar dinners. There'll be a few nights where the majority of the food will be brought in from outside, like from restaurants or people who can cook it in their own kitchens and then bring it. And then we may supplement with like extra rice and salad and some kind of dessert or something like that. So we will be going a little bit. Well, basically, we're thinking like preppers, getting in as much of the stuff ahead of time. That way, we don't have to scramble for something. And now that we have a commercial fridge and freezer, you know, they're this they're the kind that when you put them beside each other, it just looks like a double wide fridge. But we can hold a lot more in them than we could the previous ones we had. So we usually go through a whole lot of rice and chickpeas and different kinds of canned or frozen veggies, lentils, maybe some pasta. And then a local pizza place nearby does us a deal every Tuesday. They give us a pretty good discount on a large number of pizzas. So that's another special treat that we like to do. Of course, during that time, I will not be doing my streams because I will be there every single day. I'm just grabbing another handful of the peanuts. And most of the nights, the meats that we'll serve is chicken because it's the least expensive of the bulk meats that we can get. But if someone wants to pop for the extra cost of it, we may get beef, we may get lamb, we may get goat meat. But usually those are the lamb and the goat meat are definitely more expensive than the beef. And the lamb and goat are always with the bone. So may be a bit more work to deal with, but the plus is when you get that bone still in there, you're getting the flavor. Of course, parents with little kids have to be extra careful to get rid of the bones so that little kids won't try to eat it and then end up choking on it. But the way we try to cook it, the bone would usually, depending on where it is in the animal, the bone pieces could easily just fall right out. And if they do during your cooking process, the nose can be just picked out ahead of time. So we've been, and we have someone else who will be paying for the mango drink that we also will be serving every day. Since the person who was paying for all of that died earlier this year. The one who was a retired pediatrician who specialized in working with abused children. So someone else has decided to pay for all of the ice cream, the milk, and the mango pulp for the entire month. And the way we handled that is every few days, someone will go pick up several buckets of the ice cream, several gallons of the milk, and then we will get the mango pulp all at once since it doesn't have to be refrigerated, we can get like a minimum 60 cans of that. And of course, we're going to go through a crap ton of dates. Gonna have another swig of this. I'm gonna go back for another bite of this stuff. Heck, this would be good over top of those instant potatoes as well. Or this would be good over rice. Yep, I would eat this on top of rice. Now these hand warmers are going to go into my EDC bag. Otherwise known as my purse, but I'm switched to a messenger bag because the purse that I was using, the straps just literally ripped off because they were not very well attached, and I had only been using it for a couple of months. It was just not very well made. Plus, the way it was made, it just looked awkward. But yeah, I'll be sticking these in there because it's actually going to be getting cold next weekend. The daytime highs may be in the 20s Fahrenheit. And then I think next Sunday night the low will be below 0 Fahrenheit. So when I go to the mosque next Friday morning, I'm going to be wearing the wool socks and the long johns. Hey, tomorrow we're supposed to get several inches of snow. But high will still be in the 30s. So I guess we are finally going to have some real winter here. Right now it is just 25 degrees Fahrenheit, cloudy. A few days ago, riding the bus, I was riding a bus, either going to somewhere or going home, and someone was asking about getting, what to do when a winter storm comes, because either this person just is very new here, or is just that lame minded about not preparing for winter storm, because she was saying, like, I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to go out and get anything, and I just said, well, that's when you prepare ahead of time. You go get things that you're going to want to have on hand before it gets too nasty or you're not able to go get it. And I told her, have backup lighting in case the power goes out. Since that does happen, you get ice storms, the power could go out, and that's not really predicted here for tomorrow, but it still could. Or something else could mess with the power grid. So apparently she had never thought about having even a flashlight somewhere handy to grab. There have been a few times in my building here where one of my lanterns or one of my flashlights got others out of trouble because they had none. In fact, one day when an electrician was working on a ceiling light in a stairwell, she had a light, but it was not very bright, so I grabbed one of my flashlights. Sorry about brief disconnect. So I grabbed one of my flashlights, turned it on the turbo mode, and that pretty much lit up the entire stairwell. It was cloudy that day, so there was not any sunlight coming in through the window up on the third floor. But the question is, does that bunny swim? Or at least can it snorkel? Is that day will be during Ramadan, so I guess I'll never know. I just heard either a vehicle smacked into something or someone popped off a big old firecracker a few blocks away. Loud enough I could hear it with my slider closed. But the intersection at the corner of the park and across the street where Tasty Tacos is. I'll usually see fresh shards from some plastic parts of a vehicle right there where the sidewalk meets the street because someone either smacks into another vehicle or just hits the curb or what. I mean, at least every week I'm seeing some new bits laying there where some plastic part of a vehicle's been knocked off. So I don't know if people are just that stupid they're not watching where they're going, especially since that intersection is well lit. Either they're distracted or they're looped or something. And in the daytime, I've even seen it happen. I might throw some of these smaller cracker bits in there just for the heck of it. Kind of mix that up a little bit. There's still a little bit of the broth or sauce or whatever. Maybe give it a little bit of crunch. Just checking the chat to see if I missed anything, but sometimes my chat will just not show up anything new, and then all of a sudden it'll just explode. probably have enough apple butter for these pieces. Gonna go for another swig of this. That pretty much finishes off that little can. Oops, sorry about that. Well, I'm actually pretty happy with it. I'm just bummed that the sweetened condensed milk had already gone south. I'm bummed that the cold drink mixes are very, very hard. But I am going to experiment with trying to at least salvage it. Maybe put it in a container with a lid. And because my drinking jar can't accept the regular canning lid, I could put it in here, mix it up, and then just put it in the fridge and then just give it a whole week to dissolve. That might be worth experimenting with. But I'm very happy that so far I have been able to enjoy the rest of this. I do have quite a few more packets of this Russian apple butter. I mean, you can never have too much of this stuff. Oh, Ed, he must have had to go to the little fish's room or something. Well, considering where he's at on the left coast, he may be thinking about his own dinner. It is, see, my watch shows 10 after 7. My watch may be set a few minutes fast because that way I can have a greater chance of being in time to catch a bus. Well, if people are if people are expecting one to start at 7 o'clock, they might be coming in here at 7 o'clock Central. No, I. It could be. It also could be that maybe people are having bad weather and it's messing with their internet connections. I'm showing only 2 in the chat. So I don't know if that means 2 viewers, not including me, or if it's just me and you, Elsie. I don't know. But I've had 8 likes, so I'm happy with that. Of course, if Smokey is starting his stream now, maybe people are moving over there. Well, I saw that 2 just changed to a 3, so someone else has slipped in. Well, it went back to 2 again, so. Oh, there is Tim in the house. I'm almost done. I got an early start. And Tim is right here in Des Moines. The first meal from this Russian winter ration. Menu 3. I got into the shredded beef with bits of carrots and peas. I had to toss the sweetened condensed milk because it had gone to caramel in a not so nice way. I couldn't even squeeze it out of the pouch. So I used one of the tines of the fork end of my spork to get some out. And it took a little tiny taste of it, and yeah, it was no longer what it once was. And the 2 drink mixes, the cold drink mixes, are very hard. It would have taken a long time to work them enough where I could get at least half of it out in peanut size chunks. So I opted for one of my Polish forest fruits instant teas. So I had another sweetened condensed milk packet in my fridge. So I went and got that and put it in the coffee. This thing gives you 60 grams of sugar. I mean, one of those packets is pretty much enough to fill the mug that I usually drink my coffee and hot tea in. That would be equivalent to 3 standard servings. That's how big those sugar packets are in here. So I tend to hold on to those. And look at the size of that. That's just one. There's 2 more of these. But one of the best things out of this, the apple butter. So this ration, you only get 2 hot drink options, 2 cold drink powders. You get 1 coffee, 1 tea. So I'll be pulling from my stash for the 3rd meal. I was kind of hoping that there would be one of the officers' chocolate bars in there. But the chocolate paste will be just as good. But I've never had one of these particular soups before, so I'm looking forward to trying it. So this calls for 200 mils of water. I was just looking on the back. Here it says 200. That's how much water it calls for. And this, I would have to try to translate this, but based on the picture, it looks like it might be some kind of a vegetable soup. There are a few hard bits in there that may be, it could be a potato or it could be something else, but I would have to translate it. But like I said, I've never had any of these particular soups before. But this Preston brand, they do a lot of this, a lot of these things. That those peanuts were the Preston brand. Same with this breakfast porridge. And instant potatoes, it's the same brand. See, this one has a bowl on the side. I'm just, I'm not sure if that is the logo, but I'm not seeing a brand name on this one, on this kasha. It could the bowl just could mean that there's beef in it. But some of these might have a brand name on it, some might not. This one says Zai or Zay, Z-A-I. It says cracker, but galette is cracker. It's actually similar to the Spanish word, which is galleta. That's a word that I have seen on the Spanish rations for the crackers or biscuits is a galleta. I messed with Russian way back in the 87, just for fun. It wasn't a sanctioned class on the college campus. It was just something that a professor who had learned it just wanted to share it with anyone who was interested. It was just for something different. So I was one of the two who stuck it out for nearly the entire time until he decided that it was just not worth doing it anymore if no one else is going to be interested. But you know, I still enjoy doing it. And back in the 70s when I was a kid, the local PBS or public broadcasting service channels had a series of basic Russian language episodes. So I watched that. I don't know if that was just done by the channel and that was available in my particular area or if that was nationwide. But it was there, so I watched it. And of course, when I was more active in the coin and currency collecting, then I picked up some, and my books that I used as reference would have the different languages and I would try to figure out what they were. So I happen to have a 1743 Russian 5 kopeck coin. Which is as thick as one of these crackers. Yeah. And it was about the size of a US half dollar in a diameter. Well, I'll have to check that out later. Sometimes he'll drop one video, or sometimes he'll have a couple of them drop. He just works on them, and then he drops them both in the same day. What the heck? Dang, Elsie, maybe there's something up with whatever your stove. Might have to check into that. Or you're using your toaster oven. Yeah, maybe you might have to put a little fire under that thing. I have an Instapot. That would get that chicken cooked in short order. But unfortunately, I'm a little too far away for you to just borrow it from me. Oops. Yeah, that should get that thing going. Otherwise, you'll have a late supper, and your rice might be overdone. Unless you're just cooking the chicken. I didn't know that they could do the convection like that. That's a bummer. I have the Instapot Duo. Yeah, parents used to have a convection microwave, and we used the living crap out of that thing till it finally crapped out. But my two sisters who share a house together, one of them got an air fryer, so they used that a lot. And now with my one sister who recently had her second cast taken off, and she's back to wearing one of those orthopedic boots. She can't bear weight on her right foot for probably another month and a half. Since her surgery. But they use that air fryer a whole lot. They use it more than the Instapot. But my Instapot is the Duo, not the Max, so I can't do any small scale pressure canning in it. If I had the Max, I could do that. But you can't do anything more than pints in there. And the woman who has a disabled and prepping channel, that's what she does her canning in, is her Instapot Max. Yeah, it's easy for her to use because no need to bother with trying to move a big old heavy pot or lift jars out of a tall pot. So the Instapot Max works perfect for her. And no doubt she's happy to have that because her fridge and freezer in her apartment started to crap out, so she had to throw away a bunch of stuff, but she was able to salvage up. She was able to salvage some. And so what she could can, she did. And what she couldn't, but was still safe to eat, she would either go ahead and prepare it But yeah, she had a video on what all she had to lose just from the freezer. And because in winter it's very difficult for her to get out, especially when there's not when there's a lot of snow, and if the sidewalks haven't been cleared or they're icy, not very easy going in an electric wheelchair. And because she's affected by the cold, she can't stay out there a whole lot, but she tries to do as much prep ahead of time so that during the winter when she can't get out of her apartment, or especially if the elevators go on the fritz, she still has food that she can eat, and any over-the-counter medicines or supplements she takes, she gets stocked up on those. Of course, I don't know how long ago that was, since it may be a while before, she shoots a video. It may not go up for a week or two or however, depending on when she's able to edit and get it uploaded. But I think for this one, yeah, I'll check those out later. I have never had the coffee flavored Greek yogurt, but it does sound very interesting. That coffee eggnog was actually surprisingly very good. I really enjoyed that one. I'm sure that if it is sweetened a little bit, it would probably make it taste a little bit better, but I think it would be something interesting to try. Yeah, Nathan has been doing some ration reviews, but apparently he's doing it solo. He doesn't have this other guy who was running the camera for him anymore since he moved to a different place. He's not using the same setup as he used to use, where he had that darker background that he would put his tray on. It looks like he's in his dining room doing it. But he's still active on his auto repair type channel. He used to have two of those. He had the Nathan's BMW and another one, but I'm not sure if he dropped one of those or if he just does all of that on the one channel. But he was still uploading that kinds of stuff when he had taken a hiatus from doing the ration reviews. Yeah, that's definitely out of my range also, since can't seem to find one with a driver already included. I haven't been able to figure that one out. I don't mind olives. I eat them. Elsie, you only get garbage pickup every other week? At least around here, we get it picked up at least once a week, depending on if the city does it or if a garbage company does it. Like where I live, our dumpsters are emptied twice a week. Sounds like someone is trying to game the system. For the first couple of years that I lived here, for the two buildings, we only had one dumpster. But that got full so fast that when the original manager who was running the place when I moved in, when he got replaced, then that property manager decided to go ahead and add another dumpster. So that way, the building on the other side of the property has its dumpster, and then we have ours. And because we have people who are somewhat mobility challenged who could not get over to the other dumpster, someone else would have to take their trash for them. Or they would leave it by these old rickety steps that have since been taken out but not replaced. But we have one person who uses a wheelchair part of the time, especially when going out either to shopping or doctor's appointments or whatever. I would see trash bags put right outside of the door that opens onto a wheelchair accessible ramp. If I see bags of trash down there, then that tells me the person who put it there is not able to get it over to the dumpster, so I would take it over there myself. See, that's one thing that we can't do here in all areas of the city because a lot of the apartments and condos don't have recycling bins. We don't have compost bins or what they call yard carts. for any kind of compostable material like leaves and garden scrap or anything like that. And because my state has cut back on accessibility of places to redeem cans and bottles that have the 5 cent deposit on them, and the redemption centers are not close to bus stops, more of those are just going to end up either just in the regular trash if they don't have a recycling bin to put them in, or just on the ground. And I'm seeing a lot of that. But before I started doing my own compost, I was putting all of my food scrap into my trash if I couldn't run it down a disposal. So I have put a lot less of that into my trash, and I very seldom use my disposal. Yeah, I know one that still does, but the thing is, they are limiting the number you can take in, and they're limiting the hours you can take them in. So, for instance, the Hy-Vee that's over by my mosque limits hours from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and you can take 48 only. That's it, no more. Unless I've cut that back even farther. But a lot of other places that I've checked out, they have stopped doing it completely. So, unless I can get a ride to a redemption center, I'm not sure where I can take my cans and bottles that I have accumulated. I mean, I see bags of them sitting down by the dumpster. So I don't know if people are simply just tossing them in the dumpster or taking them and finding some place. Hmm. The question is, does that Hy-Vee limit the number that you can take in, or do they have cut back on the time that you can go in there to turn those in? I can take them in a bus, but the problem is going to a place that's on a that's near a bus stop that is still accepting them. Uh, the Hy-Vee by the dark bus station still has some machines, but they're just offline. They're not going to be turned back on, or if they're not working, they're not going to be serviced. So eventually they're going to come out. I have never checked into the Hy-Vee that's over by the Windsor Heights Walmart. I have not tried that one. And I don't know about the Price Chopper that's on Ingersoll. So I don't know about that one. I haven't checked into that one, but the Walmart does not do it anymore. But I don't want to throw them away either. Yeah, it should. If if that's the fairway that's over at Park Fair Mall, they don't do it either. They stopped taking them. Yeah, see, there's a bit of a distance between. Yeah, that would be a bit of a stretch to get over there. And because I would have to walk from Park Fair Mall and trying to lug a bunch of cans and bottles, that would be a bit of an issue. I have no idea, know, you know, because I don't go there very often. I don't know if there's sidewalks all the way through there, or if I could safely walk that area without anyone thinking that I'm some homeless bum looking to get money to buy booze or drugs. Yeah, I do live close to East 14th and Grand, and I could take a bus, but it doesn't stay on East 14th to go to Euclid. It goes off in different directions before it ends up at Park Fair Mall. There is CT in a house. I've eaten everything I planned on eating. Except for the sweetened condensed milk. This stuff is past its prime. Yeah, it is not good. Yeah. So that one has gone bye bye. Yeah, so fortunately, I had another one at a packet in my fridge. So I just went and got that because I didn't feel like opening up a 20-gram packet of sugar. Yeah, this is 2019 pack menu 3, the winter ration. And I had the beef with carrots and peas. Yeah, but if you come down in here tomorrow, CT, depending on where you go in the state, you may be hitting some white stuff because we're supposed to get a real snow tomorrow. Well, that all depends on several factors. Because the kid who supposedly did it was under 18, how did he get it? What what the parents' involvement was, and did they keep it secured, or was it out in the open for easy access, or did he get it some other way without them even knowing? And of course, because he killed himself, we'll never know as far as motive. There's the Carlos Perry in the house. That's okay. For the most part, the meal was pretty good. Yeah, there's not a whole lot new that has been put out about it. It will no doubt take some more time. Yeah, that would be the most likely thing, that it may have been legally obtained by a parent or guardian, but if it's not secured where a kid can't get at it, then the parents could be in trouble, like the parents of that 6-year-old. Yeah, the parents of that kid got into big time trouble because that kid is obviously too young to be charged. Yeah. Yeah, that's the best thing to do, is teach them young and teach them properly. Of course, I will never be, you know, people will say that I haven't done that. Of course, I don't think I can get a cat to understand. She couldn't operate my Daisy anyway. For those just coming in, this is Akasha, but the side text on here is so small. I'm not sure how well it would even translate. So this is the other beef. Oh, this one has a bowl on the side. I lost the label of the first can because it came off as the can was in the pot boiling away to heat up. The only other thing I couldn't get into tonight was the cold drink powders. The packets were sticky, but I could not find anything that would have leaked onto them. Yeah, because I checked this pate over. Even though this one took a bit of a hit, there's nothing leaking out of it. And this smaller can, this is just a piece of cardboard under here. That's perfectly clean on the other side of that. See, nothing wrong with that can either. But, these are less prone to leaking than something like this. And this gets folded over, but I have not found anything on here that would indicate a leak. And I put the squeeze on it, nothing comes out. But yeah, when I opened it, one of the 3 plastic spoons was missing. But this bag had already been opened. It was just taped shut. So I don't know if when he originally got this one, if there was an issue and he took out whatever was the issue, the initial source of the leak. Because based on this, it looks like the only thing that was missing was one of the spoons. got all three napkins, got the matches, got there's a liver pate, this tuna and tomato sauce. So I'm kind of bummed that there's no officer's chocolate bars in there because I really do like those. But the guy that I got this from is already here in the States. So I didn't have to worry about some government lackeys raiding it. But the drink powders they're very, very hard. So I opted for a Polish forest fruit tea instead. But I really do like those. But I'm thinking what I might do with those. They're the yellow packet, the shiny yellow camo. But there is something sticky on the outside of it. There are the tomato ketchup or tomato sauce packets. They're not leaking, so it had to be something else. Actually, I think there was supposed to be like the vegetable caviar. I wonder if that was, because when I translated it, that is on the list. I wonder if that was the source of the leak and he just chose to get rid of that because that was such a hot mess. Because, it kind of smelled like it. It kind of looked that color. But that would be my guess as to now that I think of it, that's probably the source of the leak because there's nothing coming out of here at all. It shows some delamination. I mean, you can hear it. Oops. But it hasn't been poked in any way. See here, you can see that color. That's probably that vegetable caviar type stuff that is on the list. That's not in here. Is at first, until I realized, at first I thought that's what this was, but nope, this is the liver pate. But that is too orange. So maybe that's the only food item missing other than one of the plastic spoons is not there because there's supposed to be 3 spoons. But hey, I'm happy to get the 2 that I got because that's 2 more plastic spoons than I didn't have before. And these are hand warmers. I'm not sure what the word teploid is supposed to mean, because I just find that word funny. I just find the word teploid funny. Sounds like something alien. But I got 3 water purification tablets. I got the the solid fuel tabs and the matches. So yeah, I'm happy about that. And there's nothing wrong with those. Yeah, tabloid. Yeah, that's. Yeah. That's why I said earlier, next Friday when I go to the mosque to start working on lunch, I'm going to be wearing the wool socks and the long johns. And I carry a travel mug full of coffee. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I bet up in like northern Ontario, northern Alberta, or up into the territories above that, I bet you can get some major snow dumps up there. Yeah, yeah, that's when you want to have a serious emergency kit in there and a whole crap ton of something like that. You can even get the foot warmers that run like it looks like a slightly smaller version of an insole that doesn't warm up just the front part of the foot. Yeah, my one remaining aunt who's still alive, who used to live in western Iowa, you know, around the, but she had, after her husband died, she still lived on the farm that was outside of a town of Corning, Iowa. You know, when she retired, when she got her husband's affairs settled all that stuff. She bought a property down in Arizona, and so she has been living there since, and she's really enjoying it down there. So we pretty much communicate with her on Facebook. But when her time comes, she's going to be buried next to my dad. You know, the plot's already paid for. Of course, after my mom dies, her ashes will be combined with my dad's in what they call a companion urn. And then that will go into a single plot. And then my aunt, her plot is next to that one. So that's already been set up. But she is enjoying where she's at in northern Arizona. Well, you know, I have to tell her it is what it is. This is what life has dealt us, and we got to roll with it. Personally, I wouldn't mind living on my brother's land down in Arkansas, but I would have to have a driver. So I'm staying in Des Moines. You know, I got my siblings here. It would be nice to have a wide open space, but when you have to rely on drivers, then that can put a bit of a kink in things. Yeah, in fact, you know, since my brother came up here, he was happy to be up here where it was not quite so extremely hot and humid as it was down in Arkansas. Of course, he has been without a vehicle for a few years since his accident, but he hopes to change that soon. Because right now he has either been taking two buses to get to his job, or he gets a ride. But he passed the written test to get an Iowa driver's license. He just had to do the driving test. I don't know if he's done that yet. I never did ask last month when we were all together. But once he does that, then he can pick up the slack from my one sister who cannot drive until her foot has healed up enough from her surgery. Now, we found out that she not only had the tendons and muscles to be worked on, but she actually had some fractures in some of the bones in her foot. But she has gone from a cast to back to the orthopedic boot that she was wearing before her surgery. Or maybe they got her a slightly different one. But she cannot put any weight on that on her right foot for quite some time. Yeah. And Joe of Garden State Gardener and Grow Big TV, he just had his Achilles tendon worked on, and that took him a long time to heal up from. In fact, he couldn't do squat in his garden until after it was pretty much way too late and he couldn't salvage much. But because my sister had her surgery after Thanksgiving, be late November, she's got the rest of the winter and the spring and early summer to heal up. So we're hoping that she will be able to go on our annual trip to the lake. Yeah, she may not be walking around on the rocks that surround the lake, which were put there to keep the bank from eroding, but make it very hard to fish off of. But we still do it. Yeah, she may not be doing that, but she would at least be able to enjoy the trip. And this year we are going to be there an extra day. So instead of spending 7 days, 6 nights, 8 days and 7 nights. So that'll give us one more day of fishing, another day of having a campfire. And that's usually the first week of August. In fact, we booked this year's trip 2 years ago. And so this past year, we booked for 2025. Yeah, we still have to book 2 years in advance for going to Lake Icaria. But we're going to do it because that's just what we do. Oh, that is going to be so much fun. You should hit up Cyanide Cookies. You should tell him that you're going to be down under. Yeah, Elsie, I couldn't answer that. Yeah. He thinks he's a Joey trying to get back into his mother's pouch, but no, that's not going to happen. Yeah, maybe he's upset about this, since there is something fishy in this can. I wonder if that's it, since he knows what's in here. Could that be what's got its fins all bent out of shape? Oh, that's got to be it. You're saying that on purpose, aren't you? Yep, I think I was right about that one. Oh, about what I said. I think I'm right about what I said about that. Unless he didn't get it. It was the peas with or the shredded beef or pulled beef with peas and carrots. That's what I ate tonight. So next week, I'm either going to open this can and have that with the instant potatoes, or I can open up the kasha and have that with the soup. Yeah, you can buy these. And when I watch some videos of these guys who build these dugout shelters in the forest, they will have things like this that you can buy in their grocery stores. So you can buy stuff like this in Russian grocery stores. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the items that are in Lithuanian rations that are somewhat similar to this, I wouldn't be surprised if you could go to any grocery store in Lithuania and buy something like that. But they may take, say, if it's like the Tashanka or the other kind, just the plain cans of meat with the fat, they may cut up some veggies and then they'll just add that canned meat to it. That way they don't have to bother with trying to thaw out a lump of or package of meat that might be just in their backpack or on their sled when they're on a snowmobile or however they get to their location. But it would be nice to be able to find something like this here, but I have found some similar items online. I have a canned mutton that I found online that I have in my stash. Of course, I have the can of beef that is the ingredients just say beef and salt. Like the canned roast beef you get in Walmart or other stores or online. Or the Keystone meats. But something like this would be a very nice item to have for variety. Because it really doesn't take much to heat this up at all, especially if you do it over like a camp stove. Or if you're using these. There are different versions of these. Some of these will have what looks like a match head. The material that makes up a match head that will actually be on the fuel tablet. And instead of striking a match to light this, you're actually striking this like a match. So I have a few of those. But these will get added to my stash. So that means I have another way to heat up something. Now those would only be used outside. So when I do store these, even though these are wrapped in plastic, and I'm getting only a very slight smell when I put it right up to my nose. This goes inside of another bag, and then that in turn goes into an ammo can. And because that has a good seal on it, that keeps all that contained. So I don't get that smell. Except when I open the ammo can, and that's it. So I could either use those in a camping trip, or I would burn them outside on my deck. Or instead of cooking on it, I would use it as a fire starter to help get a fire going. And I've seen YouTubers do that in some of their videos. They use the fuel tab as a fire starter. So that's another way you can use those. Another thing I like about the Polish drinks, no funky color residue left behind. Unlike the American ration drinks where when your drink is that color, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this one. And I will get 2 more streams out of this box. And on one of them, I will open up that. Uh, this one, I don't know if it is pork liver or beef liver. I would have to check this one out for sure. So in fact, the guy I got this ration from was actually looking for pates from rations. So I'll take a picture of it and I will send it to him. And I'll see if that would be something that if he would be interested in having this one back. But I'll check into that one some more. Well, otherwise, that's pretty much going to do it because I just finished off the coffee. But next week, I'm hoping to go back to my normal time. But I do want to thank everybody who did come out, even if they're catching the tail end. And so those who will watch from the replay, they'll get to see everything that I pulled out of here. Like I said, I am holding on to this bag because this is just too dang cool. Yeah, I don't even know if they do this particular type of packaging. Oh, sorry, brief disconnect again. Yeah, I don't know if they do this particular type of packaging anymore, since this is from 2019. Mylar bag, so I could put a whole lot of stuff in here and then heat seal it. And call that good. So I do want to thank everybody for hanging out with me tonight. And hope you didn't mind that I started a couple hours ahead of my normal time, just in case Smokey were to go live. I don't know if anyone has checked to see if he is or not. But if he was supposed to go live, I think he would have started it by now. But who knows? Maybe he's having his own issues. Maybe that's why he couldn't go on last night. Or something else came up that had to take priority. But I guess we'll see what happens. So I hope you can come back again next time to see which one of these two I open up and what else I put with it. So thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.